On the hour across Brentwood and Billericay. This is Phoenix FM.
I'm going to be chatting to Sidra Naeem, Chair of Women Together, about addiction and mental health just after 9. It's Mikey's Breakfast on Brentwood and Billericay's Phoenix FM, exactly 3 minutes past 9 on Wednesday, 22nd of May. In about 5 minutes' time, I'm going to be speaking to Sidra Naeem, who's Chair of Women Together, about addiction and mental health. Mikey's Breakfast on Brentwood and Billericay's Phoenix FM. So, on the phone, I've actually got Sidra. Morning, Sidra.
Hello.
You're becoming a regular on the show now, aren't you? I feel as if I know you really well.
Yes, I think this is my third one, but all really wonderful topics as usual. Very, very useful topics for the community to listen about.
Now, this one, we're going to talk about addictions, if that's okay.
Yes.
First, because I know there's all different types. First of all, what is an addiction?
Okay, an addiction is a strong physical or psychological need or urge to do or use something. And the dependence on that substance or act causes harm and impacts your daily life. That's actually the definition of what an addiction is.
That could literally be anything then, like social media or television, or it could be anything.
That is actually one of those as well. So that is, did you know that's the latest addiction is mobile phones and computers?
Oh, really?
Yes, because spending hours surfing the internet, playing games, and if you do it excessively, you can neglect aspects of your life like sleep and eating. That's when you know it's a problem. The types of addiction. So some of the addictions, first of all, so smoking is one. Nicotine is actually a drug, whether you take it in the form of a gum or you take it in the form of a cigarette. Drinking alcohol is another one. Gambling is another one. Drugs, even prescription drugs people can get addicted to, like sleeping tablets or codeine or morphine. Solvents is another one. And that is things like glue, and it can be even things like helium inside a balloon, which people do, aerosols, paint, lighter fuel.
Now, forgive me if I'm sounding very stupid now, but hasn't addiction also got a link with, is it dopamine?
Yes, it does. Yes. So why does addiction begin? Basically, what an addiction does of any kind is it gives you a little bit of a buzz, but only for that moment. And then after that, your brain normalizes again. Okay. So, then you go low again. It's like drinking alcohol. For that time, you're happy, you're elevated when you're drunk. Then afterwards, you feel really low afterwards. And there can be signs of guilt as well and things like that. And with very big addictions, it actually changes the structure of your brain as well.
Oh, really? In what way does it change?
Cannabis, amphetamines, all of those hardcore drugs, they actually change the structure of your brain. They are very, very powerful.
Oh, wow.
And you can end up going into psychosis. Yes.
Can your brain actually come back from the structure of it being changed?
No, once the structure's changed, it's all downhill after that. You cannot change the structure. You cannot rebuild neurons that have been damaged, basically. You can't do that.
And are you just born with a certain amount of neurons and they diminish as time goes on?
They do eventually as you get older. However, going on drugs, drinking alcohol, all of those, they actually, with time, accelerate that process of your neurons dying.
Oh, really?
Which is why dementia sets in earlier with people who drink alcohol and smoke. And
I never realized that.
Yes. Gambling is another one, which a lot of people don't talk about. That does result in a mental high when you win something. And this high follows by a strong urge then for you to get that feeling again by gambling again. The cycle then develops into a habit then which can't stop. Or people find it hard to stop and you end up losing all your money. Solvents is another one. So people, it's called actually sniffing nowadays. Again, you get this feeling of being drunk and a buzzing feeling. And solvent abuse is very dangerous. Again, it can do all sorts to your body. It harms your body and it can cause death as well. There are less ones, but they are there. Shopping is another addiction. Did you know?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot. Mike, you do make me laugh. You
I
sound so
didn't
surprised.
realise that. Shopping. Now, I get a buzz every now and again. I go and buy something on one of the online stores, and I get, because it's like Christmas when it turns up.
Yes, shopping
Because
is
by the
actually
time it's,
getting worse because of this ease of shopping where you can just do it online, especially during COVID. So shopping can become an addiction when you keep buying things that you don't need and you keep hoarding things.
oh,
And also, you know, it's an impulse. And the type of spending can lead to a buzz or a high. But then, did you know that is usually followed by a following of guilt, shame, or even despair
they
afterwards?
call that buyer's regret or something, don't they?
Yes, that's right. So that is actually a form of addiction, which a lot of people
Wow.
don't talk about. People think of addiction as material things like drugs and
Yeah.
nicotine, but
Yeah.
gambling is one, solvents is one, computers, big time, especially amongst the youth.
Yeah,
Mobile.
mobile phones is they're becoming more and more, and I'll say this very lightly, important, because they've got your life on them. They've got the photographs on them. You can put recordings on them. You can download and watch whatever you want. And so it's a really sticky area for me. I don't like my son looking at his mobile phone too much.
Yes, social media is,
Mm,
you know, really rife. Like the people are addicted to social media. Again, you get the buzz. If someone likes your status on Facebook or, you know, anything you've put up, it's a buzz. And then every second you're looking to see, oh, have I got any more,
yeah.
you know, likes? And even YouTube channel, you can put, like, for example, we'll put this video up, and then I'll be checking every day. I wonder how many people have viewed the program
Yeah.
that I did. So again, there is an addiction involved, and social media comes with all its other problems like bullying. Cyberbullying is out there as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, even the blue light that is emitted from mobile phones stops you sleeping.
Yes, I've heard that
And
actually.
yes, and all night, some people are up at night on their mobiles, checking every second, and then they can't sleep. So all of these things, all of them, did you know, start off with the feeling that you get, which is a good feeling, enjoyable feeling, and then that gives you the strong urge to continue that good feeling. And then it ends up with difficult issues, which you can't then resolve because it goes too far. The addiction then starts. To
It's
pornography as well. I just remembered the youngsters nowadays, teenagers. Pornography is another one, which is very, very damaging and
and
bad social
does
behavior.
does that do the same thing? Damage these parts of the brains that can't be repaired?
It does, and it obscures your mindset on women, doesn't it? Pornography.
I should
Yeah,
imagine it
because
does.
then
Yeah.
you're completely in a fantasy world, and you will expect that kind of scenario from your relationships, which you're not going to get because that's not real life, is it?
Yeah. Is eating a form of addiction as well? I know you
It
do it
can
for
be. Now, I'll
nourishment.
tell you something very, very interesting. With some people who, because of their religion, cannot drink alcohol or smoke or take drugs because it's in the religion not to, you will
Yeah.
find they are more addicted to other things
Oh, really?
like nicotine gum,
Yeah.
sugar, shopping, or overspending on things which do not have benefit to your life. And
Okay.
that I know for a fact through the community that I deal with.
So it's almost as if this is like an inbuilt thing in your head, and if you block one off, the other ones become more obvious as
Yes,
such.
yes. So people who do not drink or cannot drink because of their religion or smoke or drugs, they will find other means to fill in that void of sadness that is in their lives.
Very interesting.
And that sadness can be because of depression, or it can be because of emotional abuse or anything missing in their lives that they're sad about. And they will feed it with other things like sugar and shopping and spending sprees and other things.
I mean, you mentioned sugar there. That's in everything. My mother-in-law and father-in-law tried to go and cut down on their sugar because I was taking too much and putting on weight, and they were looking at the products, and they use it as a preservative. So it's in virtually everything you eat.
But I'm talking about big time addiction. So people who will, for example, buy crates of fruit and sit there and eat them for the
Right,
buzz from
okay.
the sugar. We're going a little bit over the top here, over the
Yeah.
top stuff. Or someone who hoards things. They've got so much shopping, yet they'll still go out and keep buying more and more and more and more. And they'll get that buzz from going out to designer shops, overspending, or, you know, going out and doing things which, you know, 1 holiday a year, 2 holiday a year is normal. But 7, 8 holidays a year is not normal, is it?
No,
Even if you've
it's
got
not
the
at all.
money. Not at all, exactly. But
No.
if you've got the money, they may say, no, we're all right, we can do it. But it's actually an addiction. They're getting the buzz from that holiday
Yeah.
to make them happy, but it's not doing them any good because the more you do it, the more you're going to want to do it. More and more and more and more. Then where's the line? Where do you draw the line? Then it's difficult to draw the line, isn't it? Why does addiction begin? There are triggers like mental health. Anybody who's got mental health will find a bigger buzz from doing these things because they're so low all the time and sad.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for little buzzes here and there, which is why there is a big connection actually between mental health and drug abuse, for example.
Yeah.
But it can have, you know, a big impact on your employment, your jobs, your relationships within the family, and, you know, your well-being, your health and well-being.
Yeah. So are they all treatable the same way? Because you have to wean somebody off, or do you just go mobile phone, for example, cold turkey, I'm not using that anymore?
Yes, the boundaries need to set in early rather than late. The earlier you set in the boundaries, the more easier it is then to get off that habit. So, for example, if you have got children on computers and mobile phones, they need to have a certain window of time when they can go on it, and the time needs to be rationed, if you like.
Yeah.
And for example, eating time, mobile phones away. Or if you're working, you're doing something, mobile phones away. But I think we need to recognize when the addiction gets out of control first. And
Yeah.
there are symptoms that you know when you are addicted to something. What are the symptoms? So one is repeating the behavior, even though it interferes with your life. You keep repeating the same behavior. Stealing and selling things to get money to feed that addiction, like drugs, where you start to steal and you steal and you're selling things out in the streets because you've got to get that money to feed that addiction. Dangerous or risky behaviors, you know, things like needles, things like that. You can lose interest in all other things, but just that addiction is all you want to do. And if somebody takes it away, you get angry, you get violent, you get moody, you get depressed.
Yeah.
That's how you know that's an addiction. Also, eating and sleeping habits change, and even weight loss as well. So somebody who's on drugs, it can affect your appetite and it stops you sleeping at night. You can end up with all kinds of sleep apnea, feeling sick and shaky when you're trying to quit. So a lot of people, if they come off their cigarettes, they start to shake because they've got to have that cigarette.
And they
That's
call that the
really
DTs or something, don't they? Or the withdrawal or something like that.
withdrawal symptoms, yes, and from
Right.
alcohol as well. That's when you know that there is definitely a problem and it's having a mental and physical impact on you. And then what can we do about it? Basically, how can it be treated? So that is the time then to go to the GP. And then the GP can refer you to counselling and to rehabilitation places where they can help you through talk therapy, through programs with set targets and things like that.
So is it a set time that it takes you to wean yourself off of this, or are they all the same, or is it dependent on how long you've been on the drug, obviously?
It's dependent on two things. One, how long you've been doing this. The longer you've got with that bad habit, the longer it will take for you to wean off it. The other one is how resilient are you in sticking to the boundaries that are set by the rehabilitation units. So, for example, if someone tells us to weight loss, some people will stick to that regime down to a T, and they will lose their weight within a month. And other people, they can't stick to the routine, and they're stubborn, and they will carry on with the bad habit of eating fat and things like that. It's like that.
I love getting you on the show, Sidra, because you are so knowledgeable. You really are. And how long did it take you to learn this, and what did you have to go through to get these qualifications to be able to give help to people?
Okay, so I did a master's in mental health and special needs. We look at a lot of children who have got ADHD, and a lot of children who've got ADHD do actually have addictions, even at a young age. Yes,
right.
because they need to feed that energy somehow, and
Yeah.
mental health kicks in at a young age. But also as a chaplain, I have done training for Open Road, which is a rehabilitation place in Chelmsford. Open Road it's called, and they deal with, you know, people are recovering from drug abuse and things like that. So I've researched on the topic as well. But I've also looked at within the Asian community who may not drink alcohol because of their religion. They don't drink alcohol, they don't go on drugs, and they don't smoke. But they've got other addictions which I can spot, like sugar and shopping and overspending sprees, big spending sprees, which are actually common in bipolars as well, and other mental health disorders. So they think
Sidra,
it's all right, we're not doing anything bad, but actually it is bad, because you just said just now,
yeah.
7-8 holidays a year is
That's
not
a
normal.
lot. I
Yeah.
wish I could afford it. I wouldn't do them. I'd just put the money away.
Yeah, I mean, some people have got the money, but they still wouldn't do it, you see, because
Yeah.
they know that that's overstepping the mark.
It is a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So
It is
that's
a
an
lot.
idea anyway. But it does affect you. It affects your moods. You get more depressed afterwards,
Yeah, I
because
can
the high
imagine.
you've
Yeah.
gone on, you go low then. And it does affect your money, it affects your relationships, because then whoever you're taking with you then expect it every time as well. You're
Yeah.
spoiling them as well. It just affects everything, really. I think with everything, there needs to be boundaries. There needs to be a middle way with everything. Overdoing it, too much of everything is bad, isn't it? There's an English saying,
Totally.
too much of everything is bad for you. So it's important to recognize your boundaries and recognize where you've got to stop, really.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Well, Sidra, thank you so much for coming on again. You're always so revealing with the stuff that you know, and I could the brain and consciousness actually is one of my favorite subjects. I could sit and talk about it all day long, and I find you such a nice person, an easy person to talk to. Thank you so much. But once you get a rapport with somebody, it just flows. I mean, that flowed really well,
it
really
did.
well.
Brilliant. It went very well, didn't it? I said everything.
Yes, it did go. Covered a lot. We covered a lot there, and
We
I
did.
really do mean that. You're a fascinating person to talk to, and you're so easy to talk to, and such a likable person.
Oh,
So
thank you very much.
you're always very revealing in what you know and what you tell us. So I really do appreciate you coming on and doing this for us.
Yes, that's okay. Thank you very much for having me, and look forward to seeing you again on the next series. Thank you so much. All right then.
Thank you so
Okay
much,
then.
Sidra.
Bye. Bye.
Lovely to speak to you. Bye.
Bye.